Hi guys. Okay, so now let's look at the slides and I'm going to walk you through the Canvas and the syllabus so that you understand what the expectations are in Chem 30A course this semester. Okay? Okay, so welcome to Chem 30A. And in my class, you will have to think very differently. Okay, so this means that it is, out of the box thinking in a very broad and open-ended thinking. I'm expecting that. I think that way and expect my students also to be very open-ended and very positive. Okay, so first of all, the basic requirements for Chem 30A at Chabot College and even at Las Positas College is the prerequisites are Math 65 if you've done Math 65B, 65L, 53, 53B, 110, 111, 110B, or any one of these Algebra 1 courses, wherever you take, whether it's at Chabot College or Berkeley City College or any of the community colleges in the neighborhood. If you take any of these colleges, these courses, in which you've learned, the basics of math, orders of operation, basics of algebra, the linear equations with one and two variables, simplifying expressions, the different, integral exponents and formulas and graphing, all those things, okay? So keep this in mind that sometimes students take trigonometry, sometimes they take statistics, sometimes they take geometry, or sometimes a very basic arithmetic, and they think that that would suffice. That does not, okay? If you have any one of these courses, just keep this in mind that you're going to face a challenge in this class because we are using a lot of formulas and we expect you to do the algebraic transformations. Okay, so if you are unable to do that, then it's going to be difficult for you. So just keep this in mind that generally students, they struggle and they get F's and D's during the midterms because of that, because they're prerequisites. And keep also in mind that although I'm a very nice professor, but I cannot change the math, right? So if you're F and D, I can add it up to a C and you will be able to pass the class, but you will not be able to get B or an A. Okay. So even if, with the hard work you do, just be very realistic with your grades. Okay. So next comes the books. Now, we are using the 5th edition. This is a very old edition now, and this is not even in print. However, a number of used books are available in the market for $6, $7, $8, $10, $17, depends. So you can take those books for a very cheap price. Otherwise, it's a very expensive book, but it's a very good book. The next thing is that I also have a PDF file of this book. If the PDF file works for you, go ahead and use it. All right. We are going to use from chapter 1 to 11, but like they make you buy the whole book and then you don't even need it, and so that's why we made this provision for you. Next is you're going to be doing the lab, in the simulations modality also, which is going to be online labs, right? And then for that you would need, in general, for all online classes, you're going to need a computer, an e-device and a tablet, and so iPad, and so these things, you can also rent them out from the schools and colleges. Some of them are, giving them as loaners also. So look into the academic services, with what support they have for you. Okay, and then you're also going to be using handouts. Now, these handouts are the reference, there are tables on these handouts, which I use when I teach. So you should make a printout of it, okay? Next is, if we were to conduct the labs and these wet labs, there are certain requirements for the wet labs. That is, you need to have gloves, you need to have goggles, your hair need to be tied up, your shoes should be closed-toed shoes, and then your body attire, should all be fully covered. You're welcome to bring your own laptops, and there's always a, note taking in the notebooks and so forth. So next thing is, what supplies do you need? You would definitely needing staplers because you would be doing a lot of, work on the paper. Calculators are required to be used in the classrooms when you take the tests. But now, obviously, when people are taking tests at home online, all I have to say is that I trust that the students are going to exercise academic integrity. Okay, then of course you would need the computers or laptops or iPad, whatever works for you. You might also need tutoring, and we do have tutoring support, which is available from the STEM Center. And excuse me, STEM Center has like 15 minutes of, like quick questions if you have. And there are a number of other professors there to help you. Besides that, there are tutors available in the Learning Connection. Learning Connection gives you tutor for 1 hour, and that is good. Sometimes some students need more rigorous support, and this tutor actually gives me this tutor actually gives me they give me like a report on a student also. So they talk to me about your strengths, and they talk to me about your weaknesses, and so I keep those efforts in mind also. Next is you will be actually working. You need to make study groups. Don't work in isolation. In an online class, it becomes difficult. So if you work in groups, then these groups are people who help and support you, but they can also be a waste of time. So be very cautious with that. Okay. Next is you might need some colored pens and pencils to take notes, and for extra credit projects, mind maps, term papers. So there's some level of creativity and fun also involved in this class. Since this is an online class, right? And so you will be basically looking at the content that is posted. I will be posting the lectures in the videos, and you will be watching them and taking notes. But at the same time, I am available one-on-one. If you want to meet with me, talk to me about your grades, about your assignments, other personal challenges you're facing, anything, or just want to just say hi, just drinking coffee, and just want to chat with me. So you're welcome. I'd love to see you. Actually, that's why I especially made a request to the dean that I could get some office hours, so I could at least say hi to the students, if not much. But I won't be able to teach. That's one thing. I can help you with any chemistry question. If you really are struggling with like one question and you can't get it out, and it's fine. I can help you with that. But if you're thinking that I'm going to sit down and start teaching you the entire time, that's not going to work. Okay. So from 4:30 to 5 p.m., that is the lectures. No, sorry, that is the office hour, not the lecture. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm actually, my son got COVID, and did get exposed. So bear with me here. Anyways, you can also send me emails in Canvas. Okay. So those emails in Canvas, I'm going to respond. Then there are two things. There's no Zoom meeting for the lectures. There's no Zoom meeting for the lab. So you pretty much have your own freedom. When do you want to do the lectures, when you want to see the lectures. Now, the only thing here is for the lecture videos, I have made the notes assignment. So you're going to watch the video because I'm talking about some very important stuff, and that's fine. You can put it on what do you call, the fast forward type of thing. So fast, fast, fast. You can have, like, some of you may not need all these details, but make sure that you don't miss out the important things. So because I do talk about what's going to be on the test, or what to focus on and those things. So make notes. Now, just like you're sitting in a classroom and taking notes, you will be taking the notes while you're watching the videos also. Okay. And that is going to be graded. So now what do we have here? We have here 11 chapters. Your labs are actually your labs are actually 15%, and the worksheets are 15. So labs comes out to be 20%. Your quizzes are 10%. Homework is 10%. Classroom participation is 10%. And the tests, the midterm and the final exam, they constitute 50%. So you see your tests alone are 50%, and the rest of the other stuff, you can max out, you can get the maximum grades, but still you need to do good on the tests. Okay. Now, there are, like I said, 11 chapters. So there are 11 chapters, 11 homeworks, 11 quizzes. There are 10 to 15 labs. Then there are midterm tests, 3 to 4. Final exam is one. Group presentation is one. Reading, you have to read all the 11 chapters. There are extra credit assignments from 10 to 11 chapters. And then, you will be logging into the Canvas, and that is going to be your attendance. Okay. Now, keep in mind a few things. If you look at it, we are meeting for about 16 weeks, right? And in those 16 weeks, roughly, if this class was not an online class, if it was like a face-to-face class, we'd be meeting 2 times. So 2 times meeting each week. There are 2 lectures, right? And then there are 2 labs. And then, that's like 32 days of meeting. But out of that, There are 2 holidays, which is on the Veterans Day, and then there's a Thanksgiving holiday, so that goes away. Then there are 3, 4 tests, so that's again takes away. And then there's a final exam week, which is particularly non-instruction week. So what do we have here? We have about 8, 9 days of holidays or non-instruction days. You can say not holidays, but non-instruction days. And then that leaves us with just 23 days of lectures. That means there are 11 chapters and 23 days of lectures. You see that? So every week we will have to do like finish off one chapter. And it depends, how we are going to do it is all this. So in other words, we will need to move fast. Okay. Now there are certain expectations in this course. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. So reading. Everything has been put in Canvas. So you need to read. Everything has been explained in Canvas. So you have to read and make sense of it. All right. Next is your homework, your books, your chapters you have to read. There are questions from each chapter. You need to do those. Those are the homework questions. Okay. Then you need to, as much you read before the chapter, after the chapter, after the lecture, before the lecture, as much you read, this is good for you. Okay. Then you have the extra credit assignments. You have to do them. That is your homework. You have to work on the quizzes. That is a homework. Then you have to do some kind of independent learning, self-learning, group learning. That is again your homework, right? You will be working on extra credits, other extra credits like term paper, mind map, all that constitute homework. Okay. Now, reading sometimes can be a challenge to the student. So there are different styles of reading, and I'll just show you a few styles here, which is you need to scan the chapter, skim through the chapter, look for some of the information in the chapter, like familiarity, build that familiarity with like the pictures, with the terms, with the charts, with graphs, with tables, all those things. There are little stories on the side, the applications, the carriers, all those things. Next is active reading, and that's where I have actually given you this note taking. So you need to take some notes while you're looking at the lecture videos, while you're doing your own readings. You're taking, so continuously you need to take notes. The note taking could be just something as simple as putting things in red color or blue, different colored, or highlighters, those things. Next is there are 3 steps to, there's SQ3R technique, survey, just survey the chapter, look at some of the questions, or you can question yourself also, like, what is this Boyle's law? What is this Charles law? Or what is this, intermolecular forces? What does it mean? Or what is the speciality about acids? What is it? What is this hydronium ion? Those things. So question that. Then you start reading for that specific to find information on that. Then stop, read in small chunks, stop, and then recall, and then again go back and read, and then close your eyes and review. So there is a lot of memorization also that goes with chemistry. Okay. Next is look for some, navigation aids. Your books are very beautifully written. There are lots of colors and charts. Look at them. Okay. Then you need to build the vocabulary that is associated with the discipline. Okay. Now, don't we miss this really in the lockout and pandemic? This is something that has just been missed. We go in the libraries, we sit there quietly and everybody's studying. So what I mean to show by this slide is the environment of learning, which obviously at home can be difficult, especially if you're living with a multi-generational family or you have other brothers and sisters, and it's hard then, and your parents are also working from home in a pandemic. It's even hard. And I know some of the students, unfortunately, it's so sad. I see them sitting in the cars and, doing the work, but, take life as an adventure. And, whatever it works, if whatever motivates you to study, you should figure that out. It could be simply going to the park and studying, or, just figure out, what helps you. Now we have some laboratory assignments, and that is since we're not having any wet labs. So obviously, we can't, obviously, we can do this, but at least just so for your sake that, in the labs, we write lab reports, we take the data, we submit them, we wear safety goggles, we, we exercise caution, and we, wear proper attire. We clean, as often as we can before the lab session, after the lab session, and then we discuss, all those things, are there. So anyways, now let's look at the safety, the testing standard. So just like you take the test in the classroom, I'm expecting that you would be taking the tests at home also, online. And you will be taking these tests, in the, obviously through the Canvas. And, I may monitor the tests, I may not. One thing I have to really tell you, one thing, I trust my students. I'm trusting, okay? I'm trusting my students. And when I'm trusting, that means that you are basically going to exercise academic integrity on your own, okay? You are going to be honest, okay? Now you're going to be taking the test online. Like I said, these are multiple choice tests, but you have to show the working. These are timed tests. You will be given one question at one time. So just make sure that, you are working in a distraction-free environment and you're not disturbed. So that's why I said sometimes it's fine to go in a car and sit down and do the work. But anyways, so just take the test and, just take it with the, honesty. So this is how I see, if I'm conducting the test in Zoom, this is how I see everybody's camera needs to be turned on, and I can monitor the students, their face should be shown. And, if they have any questions, they can always ask. And, because like I said, uh, I do allow the use of handouts, and you can use your own notes on the exam. So it's pretty much open notes, open books. But these are timed tests, so that's the only thing. So just make sure that when you're taking the tests, you are, in that mode of taking the test, just like you would in a classroom, okay? Next is academic dishonesty. We know all kinds of how people can be academically dishonest. You can be as much dishonest as you want. One thing I can say is listen to your heart. Listen to is this the right thing to do? In the classroom, students cheat, they send papers, and they use their phones, and they write things on their hands, and they hire other people to take the tests for them. So all these are academic dishonesty which are known to the instructors already. We know them, okay? Sometimes another forms of academic dishonesty, which in my experience has been that right on the day of the test, students come up with all kinds of excuses. My car broke down, or I was sick, or there was a situation in the family, right? Or someone has a medical issues, okay? People, do all kinds of all kinds of excuses not to take the test on the same day. So because, excuse me, I have, I understand that, yes, life can be challenging, but then, I don't know how to work around with the dishonesty. So what I've done is I allow the use of handouts, your books, your notes. So if you have done your homework, if you have done your quizzes, you should be fine. There are extra credits to help you boost the grades. But just keep this in mind. If you continue to be academically dishonest, in spite of all the support system that I give you, it's going to be a very bad, learning experience for you. And if you the same thing, you're going to go and take it in the workplace, and it's going to be even worse in the workplace. Okay. So because of that, because of the support that I already provide to the students on the tests, I don't allow any makeups on the tests. Okay, so just in the case, so in your class, actually, in your case, I'm giving you a very broad window from 9 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. in the evening. So you can take the test in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, whatever your time frame is, but that 12-hour window you have to finish the test. And now, in case something really, really bad happens and you really cannot take the test that day, then fine, the test is still going to be open. You can still take the test, but it's going to be marked late now. And there's going to be a reduction, and you will just get the D, grade of D. Whatever grade you get, once the test is late, that is considered a makeup test. And so I'm going to give you a grade of D for that. But with the extra credit, you get a C. right? Then here's another thing. The extra credits will help you move a grade of F to a D, D to a C, C to a B, B to an A. So a person who makes up a test with a D gets a C, right? Now, if you don't like the C and you want to make it further, then there is another extra credit called a term paper, which can move it to a B. So my recommendation is, stay on top of the extra credits. They really help you boost your grades. Everyone should, okay? Even if you think you don't need it, you should, okay? Students need to just be mindful of this one thing. Those students who continue to get F need to talk to me. Those students who get D will remain at a C level. Their final grade will be at a C level, because if they continue to get so many Ds, then that's what it adds up to. Be realistic. The students who get F and D cannot become B and A. It's not possible. Mathematically, it doesn't work, even if you do all the extra credits. Okay, so that's what it is. So try to avoid that, but do your best. Next is your attendance. You're logging into Canvas. That is your attendance. Okay. Then incomplete withdrawals. I don't give, withdrawal you need to figure out on your own. When do you want to withdraw, right? I don't give incomplete generally, but F is a grade which you get if your name keeps showing on my roster and you have not dropped. And I don't know what your plan is. You're halfway through the course, and so those things. So just make sure that you take your responsibility. Okay, next is the office hours. So in the office hours, what we are doing is we are basically, excuse me, discussing. Oh. Okay. So in the office hours, sorry, excuse me. Okay, so in the office hours, we will be discussing some of the students' performances. And if there is a behavior that is of concern to me, I will call you. Okay, we will be doing great conferences. Sometimes some students have genuine problems. So, you can come and discuss all those things with me. Keep this in mind that 10 minutes are reserved for every student. Okay, so, and sometimes in the office hours, there may be a student who wants to chat with me. I need to respond to them also, so keep that in mind, that it is face to face, but at the same time virtual meeting also. So it's that thing. Okay, next is your classrooms. They are very diverse classrooms in community colleges. We have students of all ages, different goals, different ethnicities, learning styles, people with different professional experiences. We have high school and concurrently enrolled students, and then there are freshmen. We have like international students, like all kinds of students we have. And so, we just have to be respectful of the diversity that these community colleges, they have. Anyway, so now students who has a DSPS, stay situation, they need to give me their accommodations 2 weeks. Now, here's the thing. Plenty of flexibility is there in this class already, plenty, extra time and extra, but I still need to know what their what their needs are. So, I mean, in general, sometimes, their need, I mean, I'm very accommodating already. So they are able to finish the tests and everything. It's not like, so, and I also have to see what is workable and what is not. Sometimes the demand is too too out of the out of the norm. Like, for example, if the whole class gets 2 hours, then the DSP students is going to get 4 hours. Now that's unrealistic. Okay, unless there is something I need to know, so then we'll go from there. But anyway, so the students who need alternate testing, they make sure that they're doing it on the same day, but this is 100% online class. So, their alternate testing is all going to be still online. So anyways, students with the medical conditions, in case you do develop some kind of a medical condition, or you have a pre-existing medical condition, or something worse happens during the semester, very, very honest and simple. Just because a student has a medical condition doesn't mean that the student can get A or a B in the class, no. Medical condition impedes your learning. Okay, a condition that prevents you from studying and learning is obviously, you're sick, you'll be confined to bed and you cannot process. How can you learn, right? So, If you're sick, you need to take care of your health. That is a top priority. And with that case, you can get an excused withdrawal, or you can get a withdrawal based on medical condition or something, talk to your counselor. But depending how your performance has been, I have to look at it. It is definitely not going to be an A or a B just because someone feels sick. So that should be kept very clear in mind. But your health comes first, okay? Also, students who are pregnant, sometimes they take online classes, which is okay, fine. But be realistic also. If your due date comes out on the final exam day, I mean, come on. I'm also a mother. I know it. Like just before the due dates, your condition becomes even worse, even worse. It's like medically, it's a very, very crucial stage. And so you need to give a time to yourself, your child, your coming child, and like everything. So your learning is going to be affected, period. 100%. So, you shouldn't, you need to keep that in mind. Okay. All right. Anyway, so now look at this classroom. How are the people achieving in the classroom? Generally, about 50% of the class is able to get A's and B's, generally. And that's a norm. I've not seen that. But there is a 50% of the students who struggle with C, D's, and F's. Okay. So that is the reason why I provide all the support of using using your handouts on the test. But really keep this in mind that this is just to help you be successful in class. Higher level you go, higher level classes, they may not allow you to use the handout. So pay attention to, you know, working hard and attaining your mastery learning. Okay, so here this one doesn't apply to this class, but generally, typical lesson plan is, I kind of I do a lot of questioning. So this is also doesn't apply to you. Now, I just want to give you a little brief introduction of my teaching philosophy. I believe in the theory of learning, or John Piaget's constructivism approach. Here, the learners are active participants. Active participants means that you are responsible for your own learning. You have to be proactive. You have to take a lead in, setting up your own timelines, your own schedules, your own priority, when the homework is due, when are you going to submit it, right? So if you don't understand something, you need to figure it out on your own, which means look for the answers in the book, look for the solutions manual, look for explanations of YouTube videos, right? Or just keep notes of it and talk to the tutors, But basically, you have to do all this, on your own. Okay, my style is based on the, inquiry approach. So inquiry approach is like, learning by, discovery learning. The role of the teachers is that of a facilitator. That's my role. I'm a facilitator in your learning process. And you have to keep one thing in mind, that when you're coming in a class, you are basically coming up with some pre-existing knowledge. So when you're looking at the YouTube videos, or when you are looking at the lecture videos, then you have already done some background in reading from the lecture. So you have some idea about, what we are talking about. Now, here's the thing, that when as a teacher, I ask questions. Now, when I'm asking questions, that means that I am making you think. I'm making you think. So in this type of modality, you will be, thinking, and it may be right or wrong. It doesn't matter, But participation in the class is important. Okay, and so just go back a little bit. So we believe also in multiple intelligences, that the people, excuse me, that the people have different types of, intelligence, and we need to just tap into that. And we also believe that learning is a process. Next is the evaluation is the highest evaluation, creativity, all that is the highest, domain. So we believe in, developing the higher order thinking skills. So there's knowledge component, which is the basic, knowledge comprehension application. Knowledge is, we believe in imparting knowledge, and you need to access and gain that knowledge and understand the knowledge and learn the application of that knowledge. But at the same time, we also are exposing you to analysis, that is the critical thinking, and synthesis, synthesizing the knowledge. So breaking up the knowledge into parts and then synthesizing it into a complete whole, and then making your own wise, judgment, or creating your own understanding. So here's the thing. It's very important that you understand throughout the semester, you are going to face some challenges when it comes to learning. And so this is a most important slide here. What we are doing here is we are trying to build a schema. In science, especially chemistry is not a linear subject. It's a scattered, like a game of puzzles. So lots of pieces are scattered, right? And so these pieces, you put them together. Just like a few pieces automatically in a puzzle, they fix automatically. You just bring them together and they connect. That stage is consonance. That is why I'm saying, before starting a lecture video, or you should be reading first of all, and then you watch the lecture videos. Then it makes sense, what we're talking. So consonance is that stage where, where you already know a little bit about something, and then we talk about something and it just simply connects and it makes sense, and it's very easy. It's easy to understand. So with less effort, that works. Next stage is the dissonance stage, which is a difficult stage in which we are trying to fix these pieces of puzzles, but we can't find that one particular right piece that matches with the other piece, right? So we are struggling, we are finding the right piece. That is a stage of dissonance. It's like when you're trying to feel confused. You have understood something and you're trying to understand something else, but you can't figure out because there is no connectivity here. So that's confusion state. Now, confusion is healthy. If you are feeling confused, you should congratulate yourself. It is a good thing because your brain is activated. You're learning. Okay. So, a dissonant state is a state where you are actually trying to figure out. It may take a while for you to find that right piece that matches with the piece you already have, or in other words, to make sense or to understand a concept. So, patience is very important. Okay, it's okay, you may give up on it for some time, because remember, your brain has to settle down. Your brain is like a sponge, and you are just basically, absorbing all that information. Give time to settle. So that is why I'm saying little bit of studying every day is important. 2 hours, roughly 2 hours. So one time, like 1 or 2 hours in the morning and maybe 1 or 2 hours in the evening, little bit of studying would help you. Another thing is, you read something, rest on it, sleep. Next day in the morning, you wake up, you will have a better understanding of it. Or wake up in the morning, early in the morning, to study, when your brain is very fresh and you're absorbing everything very fast. So it's all those things, So be very, with the dissonant state, be realistic. Sometimes you will understand, sometimes you will not, no matter how hard you try. And that's okay. That is a stage of rejection. Rejection is when, your brain is not absorbing it. And it's okay. Sometimes you take, especially with chemistry, we need the entire lifetime to understand the subject. Anyway, so now you are going to look at your preferred learning style, which is your multiple intelligence theory, which means that, every human being has a very dominant intellectual domain. You could be linguistic, which means that you can learn by writing or listening, audiobooks. You could be logical, which means, you could be good with math, looking at patterns and graphs and charts. Logical, like logical is more like more left hand. Bodily kinesthetic are people who are like very hands-on, who like to, do things, operate things, work on things, connect things, where touch things. And so they're very athletic, people who process information through their body. It's a very difficult, actually, for bodily kinesthetic people to sit in a classroom and listen to lectures for 45 minutes. It's hard. But anyways, that is, if you are in that category, then that is what it is. But bodily kinesthetic people are very good in the labs, so it balances out. Anyways, now comes the visual people. A lot of students are actually visual. So they like videos, they like chart, they like to watch, mostly videos, or drawings, those things. Students are musical. Now, I like to play music when I'm doing the work, because it helps me focus, so make sure that you engage music also. Then there are interpersonal people, people who are very good with working in groups. Okay. Then there are intrapersonal people, people who are thinkers, who like to work alone, who like to go solo, and that's all. Or you could be a mixture of any of these domains. So it's very important you identify what is your learning style, what is your most intellectual domain, and then you have a work to do. You are going to write down your own study plan based on your intellectual domain. Okay. Next is behaviors, so yeah, fine, we are not meeting in this class, which is okay. But generally, even in the online classes, if there, you can inflame, you see a lot of things on YouTube and like on Facebook, and I mean, not on Facebook, but like, Instagram, where people sometimes write negative stuff about something, so it's like, that's called inflaming the chats or inflaming the discussions, so that is like creating a nuisance, or creating an environment which is not positive and not conducive to learning. So I will be deleting those comments. Just make sure that, I won't, and I'll be pulling that student out if it continues, so basically unnecessarily bullying and complaining or fault finding, unnecessarily, trying to seek attention, all those expressing frustrated feelings, I mean, you've all taken English classes, you know how to write, right? The same thought can be written negatively, the same thought can be written positively. Before you post anything online, keep that in mind, that you are creating history. A lot of people have access to it, and I have access to it. I can save it, and whatever you put here can be used against you, so just exercise caution, be professional. If you are not understanding something, ask it like, you would in a live session with another person. Keep an element of professionalism, respect. Okay. Now, if, like I said, if there is something, which is disrupting the classroom's positive environment, I will be pulling the student out, talking to them. And if there is a certain concerns, serious concerns, then I will be putting referrals. And there is a student code of conduct, you have a dean for student code of conduct. So I just involve the dean. I generally have not had any problems in general, students who come to chemistry classes, or, they are kind of serious students. They they know what it takes, to be there. It's hard work and they need to be focused and those things. Um, and be nice, to other students and to me, and, all those things. But sometimes, we only once, and this is only lately, I had an experience where a student had come to the classroom under the influence, and they created a lot of ruckus. And so, the colleges have, rules. When the student is coming to a class under the influence, that is their, that's a choice they made. So they have to, deal with the consequences. So colleges have rules, a lot of rules, and some of the students generally get removed from the classrooms. If a student, even if a student is going into some kind of crisis, the students get removed from the classroom. Some of the students can be expelled from the colleges also. You can't study in the college anymore, so those things. So anyways, now we have students who copy other people's work, who fabricate data, who lie, cheat. I would come to know, when the students are cheating. I would know it. So, and even if I don't, you exercise your own inner compass, so those things. So just to let you know. So one thing is there, whenever there are some negative behaviors, generally they come out of anger, and they come out of anger, in my experiences, through the grades, So that is why I have plenty of support system in the class. You avail of it and you will be fine. Okay. So right now, since we are not meeting, so we will be fine, but I'm expecting you to remain professional. And the other thing is that the science, it's science is just like it's a very wonderful, subject in chemistry, especially. We need to be fair in the class. That's number one. I have it on the top. Is something you learn in the kindergarten. All I read, so all the life lessons basically you learn in the kindergarten. You learn to be fair. You don't learn to hit the people. No, no, don't learn to be mean with the people. You learn to share, right? And then all those other things, and you just have a work-life balance. You don't lose the sense of wonder in learning, right? So science is that, chemistry is very especially that. Don't lose the sense of wonder, okay? And there are a few other things. One is the grades versus mastery learning. Now the students are focused only on the grades, whereas the instructors are focused on mastery learning, okay? Our role is to see that has the student been able to achieve student learning outcomes. And the students are only concerned about it. I should just get an A so that I can get a transfer to XYZ college. So that's not, no. Trust me on one thing, guys. If you somehow fudge your transcript and end up going to a college which is your dream college, right? Keep this in mind that the expectations there are going to be that high. You need to maintain that. Have you acquired those skills to be into that college? Think about it. You need to acquire those skills, and those skills are where the mastery learning comes in. So focus on, attaining the mastery, and your grades will be a reflection of that. So if your mastery is not up to that level, even if somehow you end up going to that dream college, you won't survive there because you don't have that base, that foundation is not strong. And then it's not the time to make the foundation. No, those are higher level courses. They already expect you that you have a strong foundation. So just make sure that, your focus is on mastering the content. Okay. The next is the online ranting and the rate my professors. And I mean, I do appreciate, first of all, that my students, many of them, they have been very nice and positive, in giving recommendations for me, you can say that. And what you see at the rate my professors is, again, I would like to say, is an individual thing of the student. So what works for one student may not work for another student. I also, my teaching style, fine, it relates to a number of students, but it doesn't relate to all the students who enroll in my class. There are always a few students who who might feel that there's a mismatch. So, that is why I'm doing this course orientation today. You decide, you look at the course, you look at me, you look at my teaching style, you figure out if it doesn't work, you can always drop out. Yes, I speak with an accent, of course, and today my nose is stuffy because, like I said, my son is COVID. So I'm like, I'm under that exposure. So it's even like that. But so if you don't like my accent, why are you sitting in the entire semester wasting your time? Go and find another professor who speaks with an accent that you can understand. Okay. I'm going to follow a book. Yes. What are you expecting? This is a chemistry class. We will be using the book. And in that book, there are questions. I will be showing you how to do those questions. And you are going to be doing those questions on your own end on a separate sheet of paper. This is how it's going to work. If this doesn't work with you, you have an option. There are so many other Chem 30A classes. You see that? But what it doesn't make sense is student ranting online, it doesn't serve, you don't learn anything out of it. What do you learn? You don't learn anything, that's what my concern is. Like, I'm here to teach you. And you are given a time from here, from the start of the semester till the end of the semester. Make best use of that time. Come and connect with me. If sometimes, you feel like, oh, I don't know, she looks different, or I'm scared of her. No, come and just say hi in the what is this called, office hours. And that's it. Be nice and friendly. That's it. And that's how it works. Sometimes you need to know a person a little bit more on a personal level to be comfortable around them. But if you go and write things on them, I can't help you. Sorry, I'll be very honest. So here's the thing. you also have to keep this in mind that if you've taken chemistry from me or from any professor in a certain college, and then you apply to another to transfer college, don't you think that those people are going to look at it, the professors? They do, you know. And so make best use of the time, learn chemistry, keep the focus on the grades, and then, you know, do the right things and move on. Okay. Next is, if you desire a grade of A, keep this in mind that I did all the calculations myself. The assignments I have given you, roughly those assignments are going to take 10 hours per week, right? 10 hours per week. So it comes out to be 2 hours per day, 5 days, you know, 2 hours per day, and you can keep Saturday, Sunday off. So if you keep that, then 10 hours, you know, is going to give you a very basic C. But if you want to do things a little bit more on your own, like for example, if you want to study on your own, you want to do writing of your own, like, you know, like taking notes or practicing on your own, or watching the YouTube videos, then again, more time is needed, right? Studying with the groups, again, more time is needed. So anyways, I'm just assuming that 16 hours roughly, you know, 12 to 16 hours, excuse me, 12 to 16 hours should be good to get an A. And then 10 to 14 hours for a B, and then, you know, roughly 8 to 10 hours for a C. So it depends how much time you're investing. And then there are independent learning. You know, don't forget that independent learning is you know, basically doing your own reading, you know, organizing your own tasks, setting up your own priorities, you know, following a schedule. You create your own schedule, you know, look at the problems, thinking through the problems, all right? Seeking solutions to the problems on your own, which means like a lot of answers are on Google, right? So just type the same question on Google and you can get the answers there. Okay, practicing problems on your own, you know, self-assessment, learning, you know, whether you have studied or not. So, you know, doing your own testing. Then is the group learning. So keep this in mind that anytime you're working in a group, set up a very specific time. You know, okay, we're going to be meeting for 2 hours, period. That's it. We're going to be meeting on so and so day, on so and so time, in so and so way, you know, those things. Now, pretty much everything is open, although this Delta variant is like very, you know, really crazy stuff with the Delta variant. But, anyways, so there is just making sure that there is positivity, there is optimism, you know, when you're meeting and you're having your face, you know, following all the precautions. Otherwise, you can meet on the Zoom meetings also. You can meet on Google Duo. Students can have their own accounts on Zoom for 45 minutes. You know, you can meet through FaceTimes, through Google Duo. You know, that's another, you know, thing, for the Google has it. So there is consistency and continuity. You know, you need to maintain that in the groups, get along with the people, and just make sure that, you know, everybody is contributing positively and everybody has some role to play. Set up some goals for yourself, you know, just make sure that your goals are very smart goals, like very specific, very measurable, attainable goals, very realistic and very tangible goals. Okay. Then libraries, if the libraries are open, take advantage of that. They provide you an environment to learn, whether individually or in a group, you know. And the last but not the least, I highly recommend that you maintain your work-life balance, you know. You enjoy life, you know, be in nature, you know, that is more important. Don't just sit there playing video games or watching movies, you know. Um, oh God, I'll be honest with you. I think I developed a squint in my one of the eyes, and that happened for online teaching. This I've been teaching online for last 1.5 year. That's going to be my like almost 2 years now in the lockdown, and I because of that eye strain, you know. So I'm now doing exercise, see if I can get rid of that squint. But you know, your eyes can be affected. That's what I mean to say when you are too much focused on the screen. So take breaks. Take breaks, connect with nature, connect with nature. That's more important. That's why I have this slide of a beach. You know, we're living in the best part of the world. We have the mountains, go hiking, and then we have the beaches and the ocean. I mean, the blessing to live here. Okay. Make sure you're doing yoga, you know, calm, drink green tea, exercise, be with your friends, dance, sing, go for a run, play with your dogs, cats, those things. So do something fun, so that's very important. Okay, guys. And with that said, if you like what I showed you just now, I'm welcoming you. This is my dog Milo. He's no more, but he died last year. But he's such an amazing dog. He has left so many memories behind. And so, if you have a dog, then or any animal, spend time with them. They are just they are just. I mean, it's a greatest blessing. All right, guys. So I used to bring Milo on the day of the tests in the class, and oh God, these dogs, they change the mood. They bring so much happiness and joy and peace. So if you could spend some time with an animal, please do. Okay. With that said, I welcome you to Chem 30A, and thank you for taking this class with me. I look forward being a part of your academic journey. All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.